Welcome to the Entrepreneur Toolbelt podcast, the only podcast you'll ever need to get your business to the next level. This podcast is powered by Antoine Campbell Enterprise. What's up, everybody? Welcome to the podcast. We're supposed to be going to commercial break. I don't know what's going on. My people are back there sleeping, man. Where my commercial break at? How you guys doing? We have an amazing episode today. I got a special guest with me, Armando, all the way from Rockville, Maryland. We're going to be talking about how he went from zero to millions throughout the pandemic and how he's crushing around the DMV area. So without any further ado, I got my guest, Armando, here on the podcast.
Man, Antoine, man, I first want to thank you, for inviting me over, man. I've been watching a lot of your videos. I see that what you're doing is really right. So, thank you for coming to my event. You really inspire a lot of things, and that's why I'm here. I want to share a lot of, what has been going through my personal life.
Right.
I'm living in Rockville, but I'm original from Peru. Peru.
I like Peru. I like the chicken. Peruvian chicken. Best thing, I'm telling you. So listen, I got a call from Pat Hilton, like, hey, listen, this guy Armando, he's throwing an event in the DMV. I said, where in the DMV? He said, McLean. I said, hey, listen, that's not the DMV, but okay. And literally, I said, you know what? I come out there and I speak or whatever. And that's how we actually formally met. And it was an amazing event. I went into the room and I said a whole bunch of new people eager to learn. And you literally threw that event within, 2 weeks, you say?
It was about a 3-week period time. That through the event, one of the things that I like to do that has been a big change in my 2021 is that I've been involved into a lot of events, a lot of entrepreneurs, a lot of mentorship, and that has really elevated my personal life, my business side. And one of the things that went to an all-in event from Carlos. I don't know if you know.
Yeah, I know about him. I haven't formally met him, but I know.
So I went to his event all in, which made a big impact, and then one of the things that I took about that was how to be a bigger servant,
Right.
So one of the things that I want to make sure is, I'm an immigrant person, I come from a third world country, and just how like here in America, we're so blessed, as long as you work really hard and take a lot of action, you can take that, your opportunity, take it to another level,
Right. So let me ask you, like, your journey, like, how did you get here? Right, to America. Obviously, you traveled, but like, how did you get from Peru here in America, and what was that like?
Man, so I was 13 years old. My dad had already immigrated here to United States, and it was time for me to come. So my dad called me one day, and he was like, "Hey, it's time for you to come to America, right?" And this is me, not knowing anything, So like, I crossed the border when I was 13 years old, right? But I was so naive that when I was going to school, people were telling me, "Hey, how's your way to here?" And I was telling them, "Hey, to my way here, I took a few buses, and I did a few things, And everybody looked at me like, "Hey, it sounds like you shouldn't be saying that to people, because like when you come here, you're supposed to take a flight,
Right.
But I was 13 years old, I didn't know any better, But it was very impactful, The first thing that I saw was like there was a lot of buildings, There were a lot of buildings, a lot of things that were big, and yeah, that's how I started here.
And when you came straight to the DMV area, or you were somewhere else?
Yeah, so I came straight to the DMV area. I lived in Annandale, Virginia, with my dad for like a year, and then we moved to like Frederick County. After he got married again, and to my stepmom, and we live in Frederick, and that's where I went to high school and everything.
Nice. So what was how was high school for you?
Man, high school for me was very fun. I really like how schools here are big. School here are big. Like back home, schools were a little smaller. So I really like, I like the transition about learning. I used to hate English. I used to like back in Peru. I used to like skip all the English classes. I used to not like it. So that was one of the things that took me a little bit to kind of like learn the language. But overall, like going to high school was a good experience, as for myself.
Right. And after high school, what was it like? You graduated, what you do?
So after I graduated, I started working at a pizza place. I started going to college, but one of the things that I needed to do was like, I was very close to my mom, I was very close to my mom. So when I moved to America, like my mom stayed home, and then my parents were divorced,
Right.
So my whole family moved here. And then when I turned 18, I wanted to really bring my mom here to America. And then, the amount of money to bring a person is somewhere in about $10,000. So I was like, so what can I do? So I started working. I worked at Papa John's for like, since I was 16 till like I was 20. And I saved money and, I brought her over. And that's where I started, my whole career. I started at Papa John's flipping pizzas, I really love that.
I got experience working at the pizza place, and I liked it, man. Like, when I first started working at the restaurant, it taught me how to hustle. It taught me, like, hit these floors, you got to work hard. And I was paid cash every day, so I like that part of it. But, I always tell people, when you are struggling and you're going through something, you can easily go get a Papa John's job, a Pizza Hut job, and you can get through it. And to save up $10,000 to get your mom here, that's kind of impressive, working at Papa John's.
Yeah, I mean, it took me like 4 years, to save, but like, I mean, I was saving everything,
Right.
For me, that was like kind of like very important at the time, So I didn't really go to school because I was working like 12, 14 hours every day, I would work Monday through Sunday. And then my mom was here. Now she's here, and now I'm like, now I have to get an apartment. And I have to do different things. And this is me. I'm always been a very action taking, and I always have a strong faith. And just took a little faith. I got an apartment. Rented out, and then finally I was living like, my dream. Which was like to have my mom and my family, which was my brother and sister together.
Right.
But I was working hard, I was working 14 hours a day. And at some point I was like, man, I cannot be doing this for the rest of my life, So that was gonna.
So when, you had that aha moment, I can't do this for the rest of my life, what you decided to move forward to kind of like get away from that whole working 14 hours a day?
It took me a while, I stayed there for like till I was 23 years old, So I worked at a pizza place for about almost 9 years, 14 hours every day, Monday through Sunday. I would miss all the holidays, everything. And then I used to go deposit money into this bank. It was PNC Bank. I used to go there and deposit the money for the bank. And one day the manager was like, hey, I like your smile, and I would like to see if you want to be a teller here,
Right.
And at that time I was like a store manager at a pizza place, right? So I was very excited, because I was like, man, like I'm going to be wearing a tie. I'm going to be working from 9 to 5,
Right.
Like I'm going to have my holidays, my weekend off. So I was excited, I was very excited, but one of the, she interviewed me, she gave me that job, but that job required me to like pretty much, I was a store manager at a pizza place. I needed to like step down, So I pretty much became like a driver at a pizza place so I can survive my monthly expenses. And I became a teller, at a bank place for like working 24 hours a week,
Wow. So what was that experience working at the bank? Like, did you pick up any skills?
Yeah, I think the bank industry, they really helped me a lot on my sales skills, on my leadership skills, and on a lot of skills that definitely helped me out into becoming an entrepreneur. Mm-hmm. I worked in the bank industry for about 6 years. I worked at PNC. I worked my way up. I became a banker. And I was a top sales banker always, Even at the pizza place, I was a top sales guy, Because one of the things I always wanted to help people out, So like even at the pizza place, I used to be like, hey, we like an extra soda, we like an extra cinnamon,
Right.
Just a little stuff would make you like, bottom line go up,
Right.
So I was always good with that. Same thing at the bank, Like I would bring a lot of value to make sure that I would want to make sure that you bring all your money with me. You only have our credit card, like every product that you can name it, I'll be a strong cross-sell guy. And then, I work at a PNC Bank for like about 4 years, 5 years. And then I moved to like a Citibank, to become a branch manager. And that's where I kind of like really grow my leadership skills,
Yeah, I think working at these institutions, they kind of put a lot of money into their employees, especially when it comes to the training, whether it's on-site or off-site training. They really, spend a lot of money. So let's talk about how you jump from the bank to real estate. How did this come about, real estate?
Man, I was still, so I work at the bank, I was, somewhat like, working at a nice job. I was working at Thai. I was getting my holidays off. I had like a month of vacation, and I was making about 120,000 on salary. So, I was thinking like I made it, but then,
Right.
But then the worst thing is like I was living paycheck to paycheck, like, like 120 in salary is close to like 5,000 a month, and my rent alone was like about 2,500, that's like a whole check.
Right.
And I was like, man, I can just be looking like nice and like living paycheck to paycheck. That's not really what I'm here for, So we started like, I started like when I turned 29 years old, like I started doing self-development. and I kind of gave up something in my life, which was alcohol. I gave up alcohol, and I started doing like self development. I started really working on myself, and then like literally after 3 weeks, I met wholesaling. Like as I was doing this, somebody posted something on Facebook about a deal, and I got very curious. So I talked to the person. I was like, hey, I saw that you posted this deal. Are you an agent? And then he was like, no, I'm not an agent. And I was like, what do you mean you're not an agent? He's like, I'm not. I'm just selling the contract. And that's when like kind of like I was like it just blew me up.
And what was this like?
So my first deal I closed November 2019.
Okay.
That's when I found this deal, and then I started going more in details, and then I was able to close a deal within 3 weeks. A JV a deal, like I brought a buyer to a deal, and I made $5,000.
Yeah, because 2019, that's 2 years ago. So like in real estate time, that's equivalent to like 10 years. Like real estate time is like dog years, I guess. So you got your first deal in 2019, and 2019 was a very interesting year. And then I think around March, COVID hit. So like, how did you continue to move forward, with the pandemic?
So the pandemic never really affected my business for the fact that I was a come-up. So I could not compare like how my business was doing before COVID-19 because, so for me, it was like everything was just like over 1,000%, But so I never really saw the heat. But for me, like, I closed my first deal. It went like about 3 months. I grabbed the whole $5,000 and I spent it, the whole thing in the business. And then I started learning a little bit about like driving for dollar, and I started learning about other websites, And then I was able to lag my first deal, like after 2 months, I was able to lag my first deal. And the interesting part about my first deal is out of my own was that the lady was requiring me to put like, I think it was like $3,000 EMD, earnest deposit money, which I didn't have at the time. So it was a lot of risk from my side because I didn't know if it was a deal. I mean, I knew the numbers were okay, but I didn't know like much about it, But all I was caring for was like, man, I need to lock this deal.
So how did you overcome the $3,000 hurdle, right? Because some people, they just stop right there. You know what? $3,000 shit, I don't got it. Let me just find something else. How did you overcome that?
Man, I think when you really want something, you gotta go get it, So like I started getting creative, I called my stepmom and I was like, hey, like, can you like lend me $3,000, And then she was like, yeah, I don't have $3,000, but I can do a cash advance, but you gotta call your dad, make sure he's okay with that, So I called my dad, and then and he was like, why you want to do that, So I kind of explained to him what I wanted to do, and he got a little upset. He was like, don't be too risky and this and that, you got a family to take care of. And anyhow, long short story, she lent me the money.
Right.
So she lent me the money. I got the house under contract, but something that I didn't know was like she wanted me to close in 10 days, And I put in the contract 10 days, and I gave the money to her. Like I gave the earnest deposit to her, I don't know why I did that, I know I wouldn't do that.
Right.
But I gave the money to her, the check to her, and it was a cashier check, And it was like 2 days before closing day, and I didn't have a buyer,
Wow.
I didn't have a buyer.
I can imagine the feeling like, you got somebody's $3,000 and you don't have a buyer and that $3,000 on the line.
Yeah, I was like, I went there, so I called the lady back, and I was like, man, like, I'm gonna need at least 15 more days, And she was like, no, like you lied to me and whatever, I'm gonna keep your money, like blah blah, So I told her, I was like, man, look, I really need a few more days, What is that I can do to make sure this can happen? She was like, look, if you pay my mortgage for the month of February, I'll give you till the 15th. Her mortgage was about $1,800. So then I was like, okay, I'll do that. So I went back to my stepmom again,
you double dip.
I went back
double dip on stepmom.
So I went to her, and then I asked her, I was like, and how the reaction went down.
Right.
I had to again ask my dad. And there was a lot of faith, there was a lot of faith, like, that went through, because for me, it was like a deal. I don't even know what it was going through my head, but it was a deal. And, I gave the lady the money. She signed the contract for 15 days, and I was like, okay, like, I got a small relief, And right there after a day, I found another deal, like I got another deal, which was in Washington, D.C., Northeast, And it was like a crazy deal. And then, thanks to her, like she didn't really require me an earnest deposit money,
Right.
So I liked that second deal the next day. And then So I now have 2 deals going on, and then the first deal, where I put a lot of earnest deposit, the day a week went by, and again no buyers, and this is now I'm getting like a little bit frustrated. I'm a little desperate, and like a little before this, I start praying. Like I pray every morning, so like I really start praying like hard, about this, and just to be honest, like my mindset was like, look, if this is not meant to be, it's not meant to be. But like if you want to show me the way, this has to be it. Show me the way. This has to be the one. And I swear, like it was like a day later, this agent called me. He's like, hey, I have a buyer for your deal. Like, how much would you give it to me? So I like that deal at $240,000. It was in Silver Springs. So like even today, I was like, man, that was an amazing deal.
Right.
I don't know why it was so hard for me to sell it. I guess I didn't have enough tools. But I like this deal in Silver Spring for $240,000, a single house, ARV like 600. It was a very solid deal. And this agent come back and he's like, hey man, like if I bring you a buyer, how much will you pay me? And I was like, how much will you buy? And he's like, if I give you a buyer for $300,000, how much will you give me? I was like, if you bring me a buyer for $300,000, I'll give you $10,000. And he was like, man, sold. He was like, don't worry about it, it's sold. We'll close all cash in 5 days. And I was like, man, this guy is like, like for a minute, I was like, man, this guy is bluffing, like, so he came over, man, he did everything for me. I didn't have to say anything, That guy was just on a word mode. He's like, man, you got to buy this deal, the ARV and everything. So he signed the deal like the same day. And he signed the same deal the same day. He signed the earnest deposit money. And I was like, man, I can't believe I'm going to make $50,000 out of this deal, And the closing day that we set up was February 14, And then I had this other deal going on in DC Northeast that I liked it for 190, and then somebody came over and offered me 240, and like that just blew my mind. I was like, I'm gonna make about $100,000 in about, and I was like, I want to see it, So both deals closed on February 14, which was the love day on 2020.
That's my son's birthday, so you're a lucky man.
Oh man, that means a lot.
So that's my son, Junior, Antoine Jr. Shout out to you. If you're watching, which I doubt what time it is, you should be still in school. No, you finished school. Yeah, so listen, we're going to go to a quick commercial break really quickly, and then we come back. We're going to get into the nuts and bolts of how he scaled his business during the pandemic.
Every day, we open our eyes to fulfill our purpose. Advancing to the path unknown, driven by the will to achieve more. In these challenging times, the Antoine Campbell enterprise strives to provide innovative leverage, using today's technology and exceptional talents, designed to give you an advantage in the real estate market for incredible results in your business. On that account, we have created a new system, custom for the real estate industry. It is a systematic course for real estate investors that provides you with all the knowledge on how to build a team, systematize, manage, and generate converting leads for your business at an astoundingly low cost. Utilizing virtual assistants with profound skills. Be part of the satisfied clients we have worked with over the last year. This is the VA Mastery System.
This podcast is sponsored by V1 VAs. If you're looking for a virtual assistant, we are the #1 place to come and get your virtual assistants. I don't care if you're a realtor, if you run a car agency, if you run an ad agency, if you are a wholesaler, I don't care what you is. If the position requires you to use a computer or a working telephone, I can get you somebody in that position for $4 an hour, fully trained, ready to go. Stop wasting time and get to the next level with your business by generating more money and doing less and spending less on labor costs. Text me now, 202-335-3322. The time is now to take your business to the next level. And we are back. Welcome back. It's an amazing commercial break. Listen, if you need a virtual assistant, text me right now, 202-335-3322. Also, if you want to come to our mastermind, which is Saturday, all-day virtual wholesale A to Z mastermind, $49 for a ticket, less than the price for a steak or a porterhouse steak from the Ruth Chris Steakhouse. See me, man. Go to CEO929.com. I got my friend here. We're going to get into the nuts and bolts of how he scaled his business through the pandemic right now. So let's talk, buddy. March, 2020. Like, I know you said that, your business wasn't really affected, but what was going through your mind? You seen 100,000. Now you're like, hey, listen, everything's shutting down. What was going through your mind at the time?
Man, at the time I was like, man, I made 100,000 and I'm doing this part-time. What will happen if I go full-time? That was literally going through my mind. I was like, this is it. There's nothing else. I'm going to go all in. And I'm a very risk taker, So, I pretty much grabbed half of what I made and literally invested half into the business,
So what was, because I get this question a lot, what do I invest my money in once I make money? What was the first thing you went out and did?
So the first thing I went out and did is about a lot of leads, literally like I went crazy about like I think 30,000 worth of leads. I skip traced it. And, then I started just pounding the phones, I was pounding the phones like crazy, like I remember, because I was still having a job, I was making alone my calls. I was making about 300 cold calls a day, like wow. Monday through Sunday. I was just like on a phone addict, and I learned a lot, from that,
Nice. So what would you think the turning point was? You went to All In last year?
Or it was like a month ago, actually.
Okay, so what was the turning point for you in 2020, you think?
I think the biggest turn point was about, being around successful people like yourself, mm-hmm. being around mastermind events like the one you're going to throw. I mean, like the more events that you can be around, the more successful people that you can be around, that's what you should be investing your money on. A lot of people are afraid to invest their money on themselves. They're like, man, you're charging money to do that. Like people will be rather go buy a car, pay interest rate, and when they're done paying the car is not going to give them anything.
Right.
Whereas, you're going to provide a lot of value that can literally make you millions of money,
Right.
So I think that was one of the biggest mindset that switch, because I was kind of like that too, because I mean, I come from the medium class people, the rat race, what they really show right. us, like invest in cars, buy a house, but nothing about yourself. They don't really tell you invest in yourself, And I feel like it has to do with the psychologically mind of say, like when you invest in yourself, it's like you're betting on yourself, So like any course that you buy is like good, because you're buying it for yourself,
Right. Because I think that people get this strong notion that, listen, you don't need to buy a course. Everything's on YouTube. You can be successful. Don't pay the guys. Don't pay whoever's telling you this. I think that's a load of horseshit, right? Because at the end of the day, you have to invest in yourself. You have to continue to pour in yourself. You have to continue to align yourself with people that can open doors that you can't on your own. So, like, I think that's why a lot of people struggle, because they're trying to do this business by themselves. Now, you went smack and you did everything you're supposed to do. How in the world did you get a team? Like, I see you got a team now. So how did that happen? Like, how you start recruiting people and have them believe in your vision and you holding their hands and showing them the way? How did you do that?
I think, I think a lot has to do with help, like a lot of my team that do work with me right now, I didn't hire them. They hired themselves,
right.
Like, and one of the things that Real Estate did point out the other day is like, if people are not passionate about their job, then they shouldn't be with me, And right. So one of the things that I encourage my team is I'm a person that love to help. I love to help and I want to help others, But if you are going to come to my team, if you're not going to bring value, you're going to see that I work really hard. And you're going to get uncomfortable because like when I'm there, I'm working, So I make people feel very uncomfortable. I see people come into my office and man, I'm going to go to lunch and then never come back, Right. Because, I have never fired anybody in my team. People just leave, because I believe in working really hard. And if I'm there from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m., I want to make sure you're there from 6 a.m. to like 8 p.m.,
Right.
So that's my theory,
I think that's challenging people, right? Because most people, they're not comfortable with being uncomfortable, if that makes sense. And what I mean by that is, if I come into your office and say, hey, give me a job, buddy, I see you crushing it, or help me, or put me on, they think that, I'm just going to have an easy way to $100,000, right? You actually make them work just as hard as you. How do you show your team that, you know what, I'm going to help you, but at the end of the day, this is all on you? How do you hold that accountability?
So what I do is I like to base it on activities. I like to tell my team, hey, if you're telling me, Armando, I'm doing this every day, right? My team has to do 300 cold calls a day. They gotta meet two to three new wholesalers every day. They gotta talk to 3-4 real estate agents every day, and they gotta look at Zillow and bring me a deal every day.
Right.
So if you're telling me that you're doing this every day and you're not hitting your goals, then it means that two things. It's meaning that you're not having strong conversations, number one, or number two, like your skills are not there. Right. So based on that, like I have a plan with them, different plans. And I think one of the things is all about based on them. It's not about me, like I'm already going to make money with you or without you,
Right.
I want to make money with you. So you want to make money because you say you want to give financial freedom to your mom. You want to make sure your mom quits your job, but there's a price that you got to pay for it,
Correct. So I think that a lot of people probably will try to figure out, like, how's your business set up? We got the title, 0 to Millions through the pandemic. What's your current structure? Like, can you go over that for a quick second?
Yeah, I can go over it. So I have a president in my team whose name is Hector Velarde. He's pretty much the one that will oversee everything that's going on in my team. Then I have a sales team leader whose name is Jose Lozada. He pretty much oversees my closers, And I have two people that are closers in my team. His name is Darius and Ivan, and there's the one that will be managing the virtual assistants. We also have virtual assistants. Nice. We have 5 VAs going on. And, the VAs, yes, they were going to bring you warm leads. They're going to do everything. But you can be expecting for them to close leads, Right. You got to really be with them, because it's still a sales job. If you're going there once a week and be like, hey, here's your check, it's not going to work. Right? You got to really hold their hands, and you got to really hold meetings every day. So the way that I have structured my team is like I paid a percentage, based on the leads they bring,
That's smart. And can you elaborate on that? You say you pay a percentage based on the leads they bring. So what does that actually mean?
So my closer guy is getting the closer are getting 10%, right? My sales leader is getting 10%, 12%, and then my Hector is getting 18% of every lead, So all combined is close to like 40%, And then what I do is I invest the other 20% in marketing. So for me, like I'm happy with like 35% of the deal,
Okay. That's not bad. That's not a bad spread on, having in-house personnel. So what are your plans for the rest of the year? How are you going to finish out the year strong?
So, we have right now 6 business going on for ourselves, So wholesaling is a part of something that we do. We also do fix and flip. And, we're flipping 7 houses. We're building Section A. We're buying rentals.
Here in the DMV?
Here in the DMV, I bought a house in San Antonio as well. So I'm also doing in Texas. But here in the DMV, we're flipping 7 houses. And I'm also building a Section A building in North Capitol, nice. Which is another business that we have going on. And another thing that we're kind of doing is, we're also, trying to do a mastermind courses and things like that, And we're just trying to, one of the things that I learned is you got to grab a business and being able to make 10 stream of income out of the business,
Right.
So that's what I'm trying to build up.
And I think there's nothing wrong with it. I think a lot of people make it a negative connotation that, hey, you shouldn't be charging people, or you shouldn't have all these businesses. You should just focus strictly on wholesaling. I just think that's foolish to just have one source of revenue for your business. Because what happens if your wholesaling stops? How are you going to feed your family? So I'm definitely in agreement with setting up multiple entities. Now I want to talk to you about your fix and flip business. What made you, go into the fix and flip business? Because to me, that's like a job within a job.
Yeah, so one of the things I love real estate, and I love construction. Like I don't know if it's because I'm Latino, I don't know what it is, but I love.
Don't say that, but I don't sound racist.
But I love construction overall, and I'm a very good I delegate a lot of things, So I have a whole team of virtual assistants taking care of payment, taking care of supplies, I am involved, but like the deals that I will do, it has to be at least 100,000. If I'm not making 100,000 in a flip, I'm not gonna do it.
And that's like net, or that's just projected profit?
Net.
Okay. So let's talk about the VAs. You got VAs. So how do you use VAs in your business? I know you said you use them for your wholesaling business and you use them for your fix and flip. When in the world you got the idea to bring the VAs in, and how do you use them?
So I like to delegate every tedious work that you're gonna do in America. I would like to bring it outside, you know,
Right.
just because one of the things that labor costs, you know, and the next thing is being efficient, you know, because I think like with this COVID-19 we have learned, and a lot of business have learned that you can do those type of laboring outside the USA, you know.
Right.
So it's a great service that you're offering. Because, you know, a lot of people should definitely take advantage. You know, I know there's a lot of car dealerships. There's a lot of other businesses that people are here and working in America. And there's nothing wrong with that, you know.
Right.
Like you want to make sure that you're staying competitive with others, you know. So like when you call Papa John's, when you call Domino's, I mean, they're from the Philippines,
Yeah,
you know.
they got VAs from the Philippines. I need to call Papa John and see how could we work something out. But
Yeah.
so I bring all, because we're coming down to the last about 7 minutes. I bring everybody I bring on this show. I ask this one question. It's the beginning of the decade, which means it's 2021, right? Where do you see yourself at the end of the decade, 2030, in 10 years?
Man, well, you know, I wanna be, you know, I wanna have at least 1,000 rentals for myself going on. You know, I wanna be the first Peruvian billionaire that's out there. You know, I wanna stay healthy. I wanna be in the best shape of my life. You know, it's something that I'm definitely working for. You know, and I just wanna be able to inspire others. You know, be able to, you know, just to have a big public of people for me to just let them know that if, you know, an immigrant like me with a big accent, you know, can do it with no college degree, then, you know, honestly, it's all about action, you know, so you
Right.
can do it, you know?
Right. So what are 3 things you want to accomplish within the next 24 months?
So within the next 24 months, 3 things that I want to accomplish is I want to make sure that my public speaking skills grow. You know, I want to make sure that I'm able to have my story get across a lot of people, just to inspire people, because
Right.
I feel like there's somebody out there that needs to listen, you know, my story, for them to be like, hey, if we can do it, you know, I can also be out there, you know. And the next thing is to really have financial freedom, you know, like overall, you know, real wealth. You know, I don't want to have wealth for right now, but I want to make sure that I build wealth for my generation that's gonna come after me, you know. And the third thing that I want to build is I want to give back to the community, you know. I want to give back to my own community where I come from, Lima, Peru. I want to be able to get back to them, to be able to see what I'm working for, you know.
Nice. Have you been back there since you came here?
Yeah, I've been a few times there, you know.
Did you miss it, or you like, oh, what the hell?
No, I love America, you know, but I want to be back to them, you know. And one of the things that I'm doing there, you know, like the people that work for me, they're from there, you know. It's my family that's there in Peru. You know, they're probably watching right now this video.
So do you got a good recipe for me?
Man, I gotta take you out now. I
like Peruvian food.
Yeah. So I'm gonna point you out to a few good Peruvian restaurants. You know, we're known for having a really good food. You know.
Yeah.
So you know, I gotta take you out now.
That's dope. So, what are 3? Because this is an entrepreneur Toolbelt podcast. What are 3 tools that you must have on a daily basis? It could be something personal. It could be something for your business. But what 3 things or tools that you must have?
So 3 things that I have for my personal side, because I believe that before you start working in your business, you got to work on yourself. Because, you know, if you're not working on yourself, nothing is going to work out, right?
Right.
You can literally be calling the same leads that I'm calling, and I'm going to be closing more deals than you just because I had time to work on myself, you know?
Right.
So I think the 3 things that that I would recommend every entrepreneur when starting up is you got to write your goals daily, you know, and the days that you feel like down, you got to write it 2 or 3 times, you know. The next thing is, man, you got to start praying, you know, because there's 2 things going on. There's things that you can control and things that you cannot control, right?
Right.
And you got to let the things that you cannot control for God to take care of that, you know. And the third thing, man, you got to get back to community. You got to be a bigger servant, you know. It's not about just you winning. It's about winning with a team, working with people, you know, elevating others, because that's where really wealth will come after, you know.
I agree. So there's a lot of new people watching my show. What I wanted you to ask is, or answer is, what are some things that they can do to get their first deal in this current real estate climate?
Man, to get the first deal, man, you gotta hit on my man Antoine. You know, you gotta get some VAs. But like, if you're low on budget and you don't got any budget, you gotta take a lot of action, right? Stop putting excuses. There is a lot of ways for you to close a deal. But the easiest way is, go around, drive your neighborhood, find an ugly house. If you don't got any money, just go straight up and knock the door and just be like, hey, I drove around your house. I saw that you have a broken window. I'm sorry I'm approaching your house, but I want to know if you might consider to sell the house,
That's good advice.
You'll get a deal.
That's good advice. Anything else you want to leave the people while I have you here? Any words of encouragement, anything?
Man, I just want to let you guys know that, if just straight up, if I'm an immigrant myself, this real estate business is for everybody. You can definitely do it. And, follow me too.
So if someone wanted to get in touch with you, how would they follow you?
So follow me. I'm putting a lot of things in TikTok, Homes for Dinero, Instagram, Mr. Homes for Dinero, my
Homes
Facebook.
for Dinero. What made, I want to know the backstory.
Oh man, you have to know. I'm sure my wife would like that. I gotta bring her out.
What's the backstory? Come on, tell me.
So she, she's very creative. She's the marketing side. I was like, man, I have the. I'm about to close my first deal, and I don't even know my company name, right? So like,
wow.
I was like, look, what can we do? And then she was like, man. So like, I asked her, so she came out with the Homes for Dinero name. Just because, like at the time there was the J-Lo music going on. I don't know if you guys heard where it says dinero, yo quiero dinero. So like Homes for Dinero came after that, and also dinero identify us, because I'm a Latino guy, I'm Spanish.
Dinero mean money. I do know that. So yeah, that's a good catchy name. That's a good national name. I can see that being on every bus in every metropolitan area. Man, you did amazing today, man. I appreciate you for taking the time out, driving 90 minutes to the studio, and actually giving us some good advice. Anything I'm missing? Should I ask him? I got about a minute to play with. Awesome. So before we get out of here, I'm gonna figure out something else I want to ask you. What is a typical day like for you? Like now since you got a team, you got all this responsibility. What is important to you, and what do you have to accomplish from the time you open your eyes to the time you close your eyes?
So what's important for me is definitely myself, my personal development every morning, something that I cannot miss. The next thing that's important for me is my team. I want to make sure that I have a big team. I want to make sure that they're winning. So I got to make sure that my mind is very clear to create new opportunities, So like we're creating new opportunities just so that way my sales floor can have different source of income as well,
Right.
So for me, it's very important that since I wake up till I go to sleep, I'm giving myself 100, 200% to the business, to my family, to God, and just make sure that when I get to bed, I have no time to be on Facebook or Instagram, knocked out.
Yeah, because I noticed one thing that stood out, and that's the main reason I want to bring on the show. You said, guys, the reason why I did this event was because I did an event from Thursday to Saturdays because Sunday is my daughter's birthday, and I want to be there. Like that takes a lot to think about and put your family first before the business, because sometimes that's not possible to do because the business is taking care of the family. Like, what went into that decision making? I understand it was your daughter's birthday, but like, what went into that? Because a lot of people you could have more people come if you would have extended the event to Sunday and not like Wednesday or Thursday, because they could have took off from work.
Man, one of the things, I have this mentor, his name is Tim Story. Shout out to him. But I'm doing self-improvement with him. And one of the things that he told me was like, man, you got to put God first, your family second, and your job third,
Right.
So all my life, I've been doing it all the other way, my job first and this and that, And this is my daughter, my daughter changed my life. She's my first kid. And, I do everything for them, for my wife. So I was like, man, I cannot miss my daughter's birthday. I don't care if I don't have anybody there, I'm still going to do it. So, I had a lot of people that was not able to come. But, it was still a success.
Hey, listen, I see a lot of Spanish followers out there commenting. Hey, friends, put that back up on the screen. Shout out to Spanish following in your language and let everybody know, say something motivating to them in your language.
Quiero agradecer a todos los que están mirando, a mi familia de Perú, a todos los que están mirando, los quiero mucho y gracias por estar aquí.
What they say? I can't say.
All right, they say, yeah, they say, like, see, this is my family in Peru, they're saying, like, shout out to you.
¿Cómo se dice, what's up, guys, en español?
¿Cómo están?
¿Cómo están? I'm getting there, man. I'm getting there. Listen, it's a pleasure, man. Thank you so much.
It's a pleasure, man. It's my pleasure. Oh, man, we're throwing everything. You know, I gotta get up.
Before we get out, I got some, bills to pay. Let me go ahead with my ads. We have an event Saturday. I'm not begging you guys. I want you to be there. I want each and every one of you to be there, right? If you're struggling, if you haven't closed your first deal, $49. This event, this time before COVID, we sold for $2,500 a person and got it. So I'm telling you, to spend the $49, we're going to give you the workbook, we're going to give you the power book, we're going to give you everything you need to take your business to the next level. I help thousands of clients all around the world learn how to virtually wholesale using the strategies I learned over the last 3 years. I want to help you next. Also, if you need a VA, I don't care what industry you're in. You heard me on my ad. You could be in any industry, and we'll help you. As long as the position is requiring a working computer and a telephone, we will help you. Until the next time, I love you guys. I appreciate you. Hit the commercials, and see you. Peace out. Adios.
Hasta luego.
Yeah, there we go. Hey, wholesaler, how you doing? This is your boy, Antoine Campbell. I am the owner of Lead Factory. The Lead Factory is a program that allows you to stop worrying about sellers cussing you out, dealing with your lead generation, trying to figure out how to work silly ass Mojo or call tools, and let us step in and handle all of the work for you. Are you sick and tired of trying to get all of the front end shit right in your business? Well, allow Lead Factory to come in and step in and help you out, and you're only talking to motivated sellers. You can get access to this program for as little as $1,600 a month commitment. But we provide the VA, we provide $1, we do all the management, we take care of everything that you're currently struggling with, and you pay a flat fee knowing you don't have to worry about anything else but talking to motivated sellers. If that sounds like somebody like you, call me now or visit the website right now.
Every day, we open our eyes to fulfill our purpose. Advancing to the path unknown, driven by the will to achieve more. In these challenging times, the Antoine Campbell enterprise strives to provide innovative leverage, using today's technology and exceptional talents, designed to give you an advantage in the real estate market for incredible results in your business. On that account, we have created a new system, custom for the real estate industry. It is a systematic course for real estate investors that provides you with all the knowledge on how to build a team, systematize, manage, and generate converting leads for your business at an astoundingly low cost. Utilizing virtual assistants with profound skills. Be part of the satisfied clients we have worked with over the last year. This is the VA Mastery System.
This podcast is sponsored by V1 VAs. If you're looking for a virtual assistant, we are the #1 place to come and get your virtual assistants. I don't care if you're a realtor, if you run a car agency, if you run an ad agency, if you are a wholesaler, I don't care what you is. If the position requires you to use a computer or a working telephone, I can get you somebody in that position for $4 an hour, fully trained, ready to go. Stop wasting time and get to the next level with your business by generating more money and doing less and spending less on labor costs. Text me now, 202-335-3322. The time is now to take your business to the next level.